Hi everybody! Today I have a quick video to share some of the hand quilting basics all about knots. How to make them, bury your knots, and knotting off so that no knots are visible on the outside of a quilt. I prepared a sample here with a front and a back piece and a piece of batting, and I basted it all together, so we'll pretend this is our mini quilt. Funny thing about this, I just quickly picked a couple of fabrics and I picked a dot and a plaid, and what's funny about that is I think there's very few quilts that I've ever made that doesn't have at least one plaid and one dot in it. I just love them as basic fabrics in a quilt. Okay, I'm using black, hoping that it shows up. I had to wait for a burst of sunshine. So let's hope this gets made before that burst of sunshine goes away. All right. Now, there's different ways to knot the end of your thread. There's something called a quilter's knot, and what you do is you put your needle in the hand that you don't stitch with, and you, hoping this shows up, you layer the tail across the needle and wind it around 3 or 4 times. Hold that wind where you wound it and just pull the thread all the way through, and you will get a really good knot. See that? I'm clipping it off because I'm going to show you a different one. I don't use the quilter's knot because when I was really young, I learned from my mom how to do it a different way. I put the thread between my thumb and finger and I wrap it once, but then as I'm pushing it with my thumb off the finger, I roll the thread a few times. And then I, with my middle finger, grab at the top and I pull it down, and it also makes, it's a bigger knot, but it also makes a knot. So that's the one that I use most. You use either one, whatever works best for you. A knot's a knot. Okay, the point of, excuse me, I have to cough here. The point of this is that you don't want your knots on the outside of your quilt. So when you're going to start quilting, if you're along the edge that you're going to start, you could easily bury your knot by just coming, what I do is I come up between the backing and the batting, go where I'm going to start quilting, and if I pull it through, the knot gets buried inside. That's one way, but if you're in the middle of a quilt, you can't do that. So how I do it then is, say I need to come up here. I start I see where that is with my thumb. I start a little ways away, going in the backing and the batting to the front where I was going to start. And then you pull through, and then the knot's there. But what you do is you hold the thread on the front. I'm going to lie this down. Yes, you can see it. So I put my needle in the backing, just sliding it in between the backing and the batting, just before where the knot is, and I pull the knot through until you hear that pop. And now the knot is hidden between the layers, and I can start quilting with no knot on the back. So we're going to do that for a second here. Let's take a few stitches. Now to knot it off, you go to the back and you're almost doing the same thing, but you're going to need to make your knot first. So you hold your thread that's come through and you wrap it around your needle a couple of times. and you pull the needle through, and you keep holding it so that the knot doesn't make itself yet until you put where your needle is, where you want the knot to be. And you don't want it right up against the backing. You want it approximately a stitch away from the backing. So there, you can see I have a knot. And then what you do is you take approximately a stitch and you run your needle between the backing and the batting, and you run it a while, like a good, I do it by like a 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch away, like so. And then you pull it. And again, you're going to pop that knot through the layers, or at least the backing layer. There. And then you don't have any knots on the back and no knots on the front. And the reason I do the knotting all on the back is because sometimes when you pop the knot through, it leaves a tiny little hole in the fabric that you can get rid of just by running your nail over it. But that way there's none of that on the front. It's all just on the back where nobody's going to see it. All right. And finally, I'm going to just remind you I did this tip in an earlier tip episode about threads. I didn't mean to I did it, but I didn't mean to do that. If you are almost running out of thread and you've got just a few more stitches to go and you don't want to knot off and then start a whole new thread, what you can do to make sure this does not come loose from your needle, it doesn't unthread, and at the same time gives you an extra couple of inches to stitch, you put your needle, the point of your needle, into the end of your, I hope you can see this, into the thread there, and then you, that didn't stay, you got to do it so it stays. Okay, and you pull it through, and it locks at the eye. So now it's given me whatever that overflow is, a couple of inches extra to stitch. That's an extra really good tip. Okay, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. If you have any quilting subject you want me to cover, leave a comment, subscribe for any future videos. Give me a comment. Tell me what you liked about it. Did you try it? Do you have a favorite? I love to hear from you. I've been enjoying replying to all the comments. All right. Thank you and have a good day.